So the question arises, what is state aid? Under which conditions is a public measure a form of state aid? The case law of the European Union has defined aid to be any measure, I repeat, any measure that satisfies a number of criteria. The first criterion is that there must be a transfer of public resources, or as the treaty says, state resources, from a public authority to an undertaking. An undertaking is an enterprise. And an enterprise is any organization, any entity which is involved in commercial transactions. The second criterion is that this transfer of resources must confer an advantage. Advantage means that the costs of the beneficiary, the costs of the enterprise that receives those resources go down, so that the enterprise obtains an advantage, obtains a benefit from state intervention. The third criterion is that the measure has to be selective. A measure is selective when it's not open to all enterprises in a country, or not all enterprises in a region, or not all enterprises in a particular economic sector. It's very difficult to find a measure which is truly general that applies to all enterprises across the whole country. So most measures adopted by public authorities which aim to support industry or aim to support particular kind of economic activities will be considered to be selective. And the last criterion in order to determine whether a public measure constitutes state aid is that it must be capable of affecting trade between member states and distorting competition between those enterprises that receive the aid and the enterprises that do not receive the aid. If all of the criteria apply at the same time, because they are all cumulative, then that public measure constitutes state aid, and therefore is in principle prohibited unless it can be exempted if it complies with the rules that have been defined by the European Commission. You can find more information on what Lexxion can provide to you on the website, lexxion.eu.